For the month of May, my sister, my roommate, and I like to celebrate our love for the magical girl genre with Magical Girl May. And for this year, at first I thought I was just gonna draw a bunch of magical girls, but then very suddenly and very last minute, I decided that I wanted to go on an adventure. I wanted to bring my viewers a story. I wanted to be a magical girl for the month. And if I'm gonna be a magical girl, I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. So I set my sights on the Galar region where I aimed to become the champion, but I wouldn't be using just any old team of Pokemon to do it, I'd be using a magical girl team, restricting myself to only using Pokemon that could arguably evoke the feel of classic magical girls. Now, of course you could make a magical girl design out of any Pokemon, the fan-made Moemon mod proves that, but the fun part of the challenge is to limit myself to more traditional magical girl aesthetic Pokemon. Basically, cute or pretty Pokemon are what I'm working with here, and luckily, there's an easy equation I have that can help quantify what Pokemon do or do not fall under that limitation. And with that established, I started up my game, picked my normie human before transforming look, and began my magical Pokemon adventure. And by the way, if you liked the video, I'd really appreciate it if you gave it a like and subscribed. It really actually helps me out a lot if you do, and it's totally free. But anyway, the story begins like how every great story does, with me watching TV. Hop swiftly prompts me to get a move on to meet his big brother and the champion of the region, Leon. You've still never met my big bro, right? How long have I lived here? How are Hop and I, like, such good pals, but I haven't met his big brother? Alright, gotta make sure Leon doesn't get lost on this straight road. We find the directionally challenged lad, and Leon presents us with the game's starters, Sobble, Grookey, and Scorbunny. And on one hand, these don't matter for me. See, none of the starters really fit the magical girl vibe, so instead I prepared the real starters I'd be picking from ahead of time. In Pokemon Home, I have 3 freshly hatched mons waiting for me to choose from, Ralts, Gothita, and Hatenna. However, on the other hand, the Pokemon Leon presented to us did matter because my choice here dictated what Pokemon Hop and Leon kept. And the really important one here, in my opinion, is Scorbunny. See, the Galar region's gym challenge leans pretty heavily into the football aesthetic, and Cinderace is the only one of the 3 that really fits that theme, so my first thought was to give our sports star champ Cinderace, but I mean, Leon's already got Charizard. He doesn't need another good fire type on his team, so instead, passing the sporty fire boy to Leon's wannabe champion little bro felt fitting. So I picked Sobble, and Leon left with Grookey in tow. I named my Sobble and was ready to grab my real starter, but first I needed my magical girl origin story to unfold. A Wooloo made its way into the off-limits forest nearby, and so we thrust ourselves into danger to save it, despite how scary the slumbering weald might be. Yeah, it sure is spooky. Here in the super fog. Our magical mascot Zacian appeared before us and engulfed us in its mythical mist. That magical mist had some sort of effect on us, and we're destined for greatness now. With my destiny unfolding before me, I headed back to town to get my Pokedex. Hey Leon. Well done, you reached the goal and managed to find the Pokemon Research Lab. Hi, Charizard. And to finally transfer over my real starter Pokemon. And I'm gonna leave it up to chance. Or fate, rather. Destiny. I've got dice, and I'm gonna be rolling a die to determine what my starter's gonna be. So I'm gonna be rolling a d12. 1, 2, 3, or 4 means I choose Ralts. 5, 6, 7, 8 means I choose Gothita. And 9, 10, 11, 12 means we're picking Hatenna. So let's roll and see what we get. 3. That means we get Ralts. So let me go grab Ralts. I transferred the Ralts over, named her Sunlight, and with that we had our very first magical girl on the team, and we were ready to truly begin our adventure. I spent some time leveling Sunlight up, as she was only level 1 at the time. It was during this training that I had a realization. Unfortunately, I don't think there's anything that, I'm gonna be catching in this area. So, it's just gonna be me and Ralts for a- I just remembered that I can only have Pokemon up to a certain level. Ralts won't listen to me until I get some gym badges. Like, Ralts will- I can only have it to a certain- I can only level it up so much. I could only get Sunlight to level 20 before she'd stop listening to me without the first badge. With that in mind, I decided to do my best to not over-level her and proceeded towards the main story where I found my first real challenge. A Pokemon trainer battle? It's common manners for Pokemon trainers to battle when their eyes meet. No! Oh. A devastating loss. I don't think I've ever whited out in this game. Yeah, so it turns out that while Pokemon games have been a lot easier in the recent generations, it becomes a little more challenging when you use a Pokemon with the same defense stat as tissue paper. I headed back to train up some more, which also went really well. Don't. Damn it all. Until I was ready to try and proceed again. Okay, now let's try fighting youngster Timothy, or whatever his name was. Alright, youngster Jake. Prepare to get destroyed. I'm 2 levels above you now, and I know confusion. Get wrecked. Ha 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 ha! Excellent. We've beat the one small child. With a proper victory under our belt, the path to Professor Magnolia's house was a breeze. Everyone talked about Dynamaxing for a bit, and then it was time to fight Hop again. Alright, Hop, let's go. This is gonna be a pretty different battle. Let me actually save. I'm nervous. It's time for my legend to begin. I also say something quippy and interesting. I still only had Ralts, and I knew Hop would have 3 Pokemon by this point. Sunlight's defense was still pretty trash, and there wasn't any Magical Girl Pokemon I could catch in the area to help her out. She'd have to beat Hop's Wooloo, Scorbunny, and Rookidee all on her own. Wooloo wasn't a problem, but Scorbunny had 2 major things going for it. It was fast, and it knew Ember. No! This burn was a problem because I had nothing to cure it with. Yeah, no burn heals. Ugh, I'm a fool! I didn't buy anything at the Pokemon Center. I was so mad that I was losing to youngster Jake. Ironically, my decision to give Hop the Fire Starter was the biggest thing standing in my way of victory here. Swapping between potions and using Confusion, I managed to take out Scorbunny, which just left Rookidee, a Pokemon who I'd had some trouble with before. Damn it all. However, my frantic leveling to beat youngster Jake paid off, as Sunlight was now faster than Rookidee and able to make it out in 2 turns. We won somehow! We're amazing! Leon agreed to endorse us, some stars fell from the sky and gave us the power to turn our Pokemon into kaijus, and then we were off again. We're about to enter the wild area, that's exciting! So out with the Twiins, how many did you catch? I caught a really special one. And you got not one? What were you doing this whole time? You're going to want a team if you're a trainer. Well, none of them are magical girls. Wow. The wild area. So majestic. So pretty. So not enough trees for all the fanboys who think Skyrim still looks good. The wild area was huge for me, as this opened up tons of possibilities to catch new Pokemon, something I needed desperately as Sunlight was only 10 levels away before she wouldn't listen to me anymore. So I set off to find more magical girls to join us. Oh, Combi. Combi could work if we find a girl. That's a male Combi. The females have... There's one. I thought it was gonna run away. I've been playing a lot of Arceus Legends. Excellent. Okay, let's actually just... Let's put it to sleep and then we'll just huck a ball at it. Two. 3. We caught it! And with that, a new member joined the party. Queenie was a nice addition since I knew most of the Pokemon we could catch for this challenge would be Psychic or Fairy types. Having some diversity with our Bug and Flying Bee was incredibly welcome. I continued to make my way around the area, picking berries and scouting around for potential magical girls, until I made my way to Motostoke and the game's first hair salon. what a god. Our first transformation was complete, though there weren't any good new clothes to change into just yet. But with my new look, I was feeling more magical than ever, and so headed back out to the wild area to look for more Pokemon and do some leveling. I like ghost-type Pokemon so much. They're so cool. Mudbray's a real cutie. Oh no! They're gonna be best friends. Sparkles! Oh, Beware scared me. Oh lord! PETA just coming in trying to kill me! I was looking at the Dwebbles! After the misadventures of the wild area were done, it was time to head back to town and watch a bunch of cutscenes until I got to fight some hooligans making a ruckus. Team Yell. Queenie really began to show her worth during this time. Her flying type made her impervious to the ground type moves that terrorized Sunlight earlier, and her bug typing was super effective against Team Yell's dark types. With all that out of the way, it was time to go watch more cutscenes. So this is it. Now my legend really begins. You've said that like 4 times already. And then, to finish up any business we had in Modestoke. Oh, Challenger Twiins, the chairman asked me to deliver this gift to you. Can you tell that I went through like 4 different voices for this lady because I couldn't tell who was talking for a sec. Heading out to the next route, we encountered Hop again, and while I was riding high with my super powerful Queenie, I also knew that she'd be effectively useless against his Scorbunny and Rookity, but I still went into the battle confident in our abilities. Oh no, that's so little damage! So yeah, Hop wasn't the walk in the park I expected, and we really only won because of an amazing stroke of luck where Sunlight survived an attack on 1 HP, and then Scorbunny hurt itself in its confusion. One starts now, from here in Modestoke. You've said that too. We've started so many times, Hop. Victory was ours, but it was swiftly dawning on me that fire types were a bit of a problem for my team. It's good to recognize that fire types have quite the advantage on us right now. And that might be something we want to look out for. Because Kabu's gym will come up. Problem? Big problem? I can't think of a single rock-type Pokemon who I think fits our magical girl criteria. And the only water-type Pokemon I can think of is Melodic. And like I mentioned, Feebas has a 1% chance of being found. And so I headed to the next route, hoping to find more Mons to add to the party. I did end up catching a Glossifleur I named Flora here, but I really don't end up using it, so she can be like the friend character who doesn't become a magical girl, and there are 1 or 2 episodes where she's important, but for the most part, she just gets forgotten. The trainers on the route were nothing special, but this little girl had a purloin. The only thing the Pokemon Company loves more than electric rodents is cats standing on its hind legs. I made my way to the nearby cave where I hoped perhaps Carbink could be found, but alas, Carbink is an Sword and Shield. The rock and fighting types of the cave were easy enough to deal with, and we soon made it to the end where Bede stood in waiting. I was chosen by the chairman himself, so that makes me more amazing than you. Okay. Bede's primary typing is Psychic, which means Queenie continues to be a super valuable member of the team, and swept through him. Man, Bede, you're trash. And Bede's defeat was exciting because that meant I was at the end of the cave and I knew there'd be lots of Pokemon for me to catch on the other side. Oh, Pumpkaboo! Got it. Excellent. We got it. Oh, I found it! Alright! Hell yeah! Harbinger the Pumpkaboo, Mamoru the Budu, and Parfait the Milcery all joined the team. The type coverage of my magical mons was slowly beginning to expand, and it was at this time that I made a wild discovery. Ooh. Oh, it's got Pokérus! If you don't know, Pokérus is a beneficial in-game virus that doubles the amount of effort values, or EVs, your Pokemon get from battling. In short, it makes your Mons stronger faster, and with a 1 in 21,845 chance of your Pokemon contracting Pokérus after a battle, it's more rare than finding a shiny, which actually, fun fact, I've actually had my Pokemon develop Pokérus more times than I've encountered shinies. Seeing this as a sign of good luck, I trained up my new members and marched confidently to the first gym. Cool, we're this far into the video and I'm only just now, finally, getting to a gym. Milo, the grass-type leader, was of no concern to me. All of my mons could handle his grass typing just fine, and Queenie and Mamoru had moves that were super effective against him. By all means, getting this gym should have been easy. And it was! Sunlight's evolving! So pretty. Oh my gosh, and Queenie is evolving? Wow. To say it went well would be a bit of an understatement. Not only was the gym an easy time for my team to handle, but both Sunlight and Queenie evolved too. And it was a new day for me, so I headed back out to the wild area to see if I could find any other Pokemon I could use. Any Mews around here? Oh, actually. This is exactly what I wanted. Ooh yeah! I found Bounsweet, a perfect Pokemon for this challenge. I named her Popstar, and then proceeded to immediately trip over one of the Stuffles surrounding me. Excellent. Oh, fuck. I caught the Stuffle because I felt the stuffed toy vibe of it could fit with our magical girl theme, specifically pulling from how Caraberos pretends to be a toy around other people, but I was pretty happy with my current team and wasn't sure how I felt about that justification for Stuffle, and so sent Cutie to the box. I ran around the wild area for a bit, training up my team and hoping to find someone who would sell me food for camping, and then made my way to Route 5 to start heading towards Hulbury and Nessa's gym. The trainers and Pokemon in the area gave me quite a bit of trouble, actually. Still being so limited on how much I could level up Sunlight before she'd stop listening to me made me overall unwilling to level the whole group up too much. I wasn't too concerned about it though, since the majority of my team had a type advantage to Nessa's water Pokemon. Even if my magical mons were a little underleveled, I was confident that the second gym would be a breeze. So I made my way through Route 5, beating some Team Yell goons, getting a bike, and having a much easier time fighting Hop again. Ah, Hop, you're going easy on me. And then I finally made it to Hulbury and proceeded to run around the town looking for a boutique that I convinced myself was here, but isn't. No. There is no outfits here. I'm wrong and stupid. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. And then swiftly made my way to the gym. I made it through the water maze puzzle with absolutely no problem. I've trapped myself. I was so confident too. Everyone knows I'm stupid now. And began the fight with Nessa. My type advantage with my army of grass kids was clear, and halfway through the battle I had what I thought was a great idea. I've actually got a Giga Brain idea. We'll Dynamax ahead of time, before she sends out her final Pokemon. And that idea probably would have been okay if it weren't for the fact that Nessa's Dreadnought is actually Sonic the Hedgehog in disguise.
You're too slow!
Oh, Popstar, no! Oh no, it knows Crunch. Why is Dreadnought so fast? With a little bit of hope and the power of one max revive, we did manage a victory, but this battle made it clear that my Pokemon were a little too underleveled. Even with my type advantages, we had almost lost, and I didn't have the same cushion of good typing for Kabu's gym next. Kabu's ace is Centiskorch, a fire bug type Pokemon. Its fire typing was super effective against most of my Mons, and the bug typing was super effective against my Psychic Sunlight, and I didn't really believe that Parfait had what it took to sweep through his entire gym. Which is when I remembered Cutie sitting in the box. My sister, Judgmental Critter, is more familiar with the Madoka Magica mobile game than me, so I asked her if any of the girls in that game fought using a toy. She then showed me Ashley, who fights with a teddy bear, which meant Cutie was totally viable to join the team. However, while Cutie's normal fighting typing wasn't weak to Kabu's fire like most of my other Pokemon, Stuffle's ability, Fluffy, meant that fire was still very much a threat for her. I hoped that perhaps Fluffy wouldn't be too much of an issue and proceeded to the second cave, where I found a bunch of water-type Pokemon that I super couldn't use as magical girls. I decided to detour back to the wild area in hopes that while leveling up Cutie, I could find another Pokemon to help with the fiery challenge ahead. Come here. Yeah! Alright. I caught Tsukuyomi, a Purloin that was 3 to 4 levels above my team. She didn't have the Fluffy ability, and so wouldn't have a problem with Kabu's fire. My plan was to swap her in for one of my many grass types, so Cutie, Parfait, and her could all work together to defeat Kabu. I ran around the wild area a bit more to level up Cutie. Oh, actually, it'd be good to fight Ghastlies, because Cutie only knows Dark-type moves, for some reason. We shouldn't be here. And then headed back to the cave. I fought Bede, did some fishing, fought Team Yell. I wonder if the grunts can get off sync with their headbanging. They became desynced, isn't that funny? And before I knew it, it was time to take on the next gym. I was nervous about Cutie's Fluffy ability, but was hopeful that it wouldn't be that bad. Okay, so Cutie can't handle fire that well, but we still had Tsukuyomi. I sent her out knowing she'd be fine against Flame Wheel, but then I very suddenly remembered something. Her bug typing was super effective against Team Yell's dark types. Oh no. Bugs good against dark. Even with my new members, my team was still just as unfit to fight this gym as it was before. I couldn't handle a single Sizzlipede without nearly getting TKO'd. I'd never be able to beat Kabu's Gigantamax Centiskorch. I forfeited from the challenge and headed back to the wild area to train. I started doing max raid battles for the extra EXP and in hopes that maybe I'd find a Feebas somewhere in them. As I level grinded, I knew that it wouldn't be enough to just try again with the same team a little bit stronger. I needed something that was actually good against fire types. If not for Kabu now, for Hop and Leon's battles later. My mind was trapped on Feebas since I knew Milotic would fit my magical girl theme, but even as I tried in vain to find one, I realized how not helpful it would be anyway, as Feebas doesn't learn any water-type moves until it evolves. There must be something, anything I could use here. Water-type Pokemon are so often ethereal and majestic. There's gotta be more than just Milotic that I could use. So I took a break to eat my shitty lunch of a couple handfuls of goldfish crackers and looked up the full Sword and Shield Pokedex online. And then I found it. Goldeen! I've always thought Goldeen was pretty, so I flew back to Route 5 where I could fish one up and began my quest. After 7 minutes of fishing. Finally, I found one! I easily caught the Goldeen, named him Kimono, leveled him up with the EXP candy I'd collected from my max raid battles earlier, and taught him Waterfall and Throat Chop. Great. Good. Now let's try Kabu's gym. We weren't guaranteed a victory now, but we weren't doomed to fail either. I flew back to Motostoke and entered into the challenge again, and immediately things went smoother with Kimono's inclusion. Amazing how having a Pokemon that's not super weak to your opponent helps. I finished the trial, and now I just had to fight Kabu. Alright. Bring it on, Kabu. The match started well, with Kimono able to two-shot Kabu's Ninetales, but Arcanine was much bulkier. Hoping that his special defense stat wasn't as cracked as his physical defense, I swapped in Sunlight with the aim to use Hypnosis to give my magical Mons an advantage. Tsukuyomi was able to get a little bit of damage in before also falling to this dang Arcanine. It was just too strong, too fast. My only hope was to reattempt the plan I'd had for Nessa and Dynamax now, and hope that Centiskorch doesn't one-shot Kimono like how Nessa's Dreadnought had done to Popstar. Luckily, this time, I was faster. That's what we like to see. Unluckily, Goldine's defense stat isn't that good. I figured that all I could do at this point was just wait out the Dynamax and revive Kimono while I could. Parfait couldn't last long enough to use Attract on him, so I sent out Mamoru in hopes that he'd at least be able to poison it, which he did! And it turns out that Kimono's not the only magical boy on the team who outspeeds Centiskorch. Kabu will probably heal here. He didn't! We did it! We did it! The looming threat of Kabu's gym will haunt us no more. While Tsukuyomi is cool, I chose to keep Queenie on the team instead, but Kimono had proved to be an invaluable member of the team, and so I had to make a decision about my Grassies. It sucks. I like Mamoru and Popstar so much. But like, there's just too much overlap between them. I don't need both of them. Unsure about which one to keep for the long haul, I decided to be flippant and swap out between them for a bit, bringing Popstar along for now. Kabu, Nessa, and Milo saw us off with a sporty chant, and we were off again. The new wild area was exciting for a lot of reasons. I caught a Vanillite that I didn't really plan on using, but I wanted to catch it anyway, so I could name it Snack with 2 Ks. I changed my bike outfit color, and Cutie evolved. So cute. Once it accepts you as a friend, it tries to show its affection with a hug. Letting it do that is dangerous. It could easily shatter your bones. Holy shit. There was also this really weird thing where the background music just stopped playing. Why isn't there any background music? Which was nice, but also kinda creepy, so I just continued forward until eventually I made it to the next town, Hammerlocke. With my new transformation outfit all set, I headed to the nearby cafe in hopes of getting a sweet needed to evolve Parfait, and swiftly got my ass handed to me. Not helped by the fact his mons were 10 levels above mine, but it also opened my eyes to just how not prepared for fairy-type enemies I was. Fairy is weak to steel and poison, and with that realization, I definitively decided to keep Mamoru on the team over Popstar. I ran around Hammerlocke a bit, found some candy on the ground, Chairman Rose gave me a science lesson, I looked at some pictures with Sonia, and was on my way again. Hop and I encountered some more Team Yell members, and he made me do all the fighting cause he was too busy pouting. And then Gym Leader Opal made her first appearance. She seemed interesting, but unfortunately she raced away before I could talk to her anymore. I'll keep an eye on you, child. I want to see what you can do when you go all out. Thank you, Opal. I had a lot of trouble in this area, having to run back and forth to the Pokémon Center. Durants were a real problem specifically, but I also was beginning to learn that in a pinch, Cutie using Strength could handle just about anything. We also camped, which is really only worth mentioning because Sunlight and Kimono had a race, which was cute. Oh. And she's only gonna get better at racing because soon after that, Sunlight evolved again. Awesome. With Sunlight now a full-fledged Gardevoir, things felt like they were starting to look up for us. We made our way to Stow-on-Side and the next gym leader, B, but first we had to fight Hop again, which was really nothing special, and then we took a detour to look at a special ancient wall. Stow-on-Side's famous mural. It's said to be a very deep work of art. Looks like a child drew it. Oh, and also Kimono evolved. Now, B uses fighting-type Pokémon. Fighting types are weak to Psychic, Fairy, and Flying. So needless to say, this gym was a lot less tense than Kabu's. We beat B and made our way back outside to the Kids Crafts mural where Bede was causing trouble, and even though I'm not the biggest fan of the wall art, it's not okay to break other people's stuff, so we had to fight him. A fight so unimportant that I was basically silent throughout the whole thing. Chairman Rose disqualified Bede from the gym challenge, and the mural collapsed to reveal a much better looking statue behind it, and then I stopped playing until 8 PM so I could evolve Parfait. Now with a proper night's sleep and a new salted cream alchemy on the team, we were ready to head into the spooky forest to find our way to Balonley. Baloney. I taught Parfait Tri-Attack and made my way around the forest until I found Sinisty. I named them Yorkshire and decided to swap them into the team and leave Cutie in the box for now, since Cutie's fighting type made them weak to the fairies of the next gym. I spent some time trying to see if Yorkshire was authentic or not. I don't think they're authentic, but I'm not entirely sure. Either way, I set about leveling up Yorkshire, realized their moveset kinda sucked, and so evolved them. They wanted to learn Tea Time, which is a very cute move, but also not really useful. User has Tea Time with all the Pokemon in battle. Each Pokemon eats its held berry. That's so not useful for me. An adorable move. But not helpful. I spent some more time trying to see if they were authentic or a forgery, still to no real avail, and continued to make my way forward to town. Baloney had no outfit shop, which bummed me out, but it did have Marnie, who traded league cards with me, and also this. Hey, ball guy. Hey there, thanks for rolling by, it's me, the ball guy. Is love in the air, or is it just this Pokeball? Here, try it out and see for yourself. Is this a pickup line, ball guy? And with that, we were already at our next gym, and personally, this one's my favorite. I love the audition gimmick and how the questions can alter your stats if you get them right or wrong. I also think Opal's just hilarious. Oh, there you are, my dear gym challenger, though you really are lacking in the color pink. See, I'm usually not. My eyes are pink hearts. While previously I'd felt my team were ill-equipped to handle fairy types, with Yorkshire's addition and Parfait's evolution, I felt more than capable at handling Opal's gym. Quite frankly, the hardest part were some of the questions. What do I eat for breakfast every morning? Curry. Oh. I think I get that wrong every time. Before I knew it, it was time to fight Opal herself. Oh good, she's already on the stand. Otherwise we'd have to wait an eternity for her to walk over here. I was pretty chill as the battle started, but Opal just started throwing total curveballs. Wheezing! Oh. Question. Do you know my nickname? The Magic User. Too bad. Oh, why would your nickname be the Wizard? Wheezing and Mawile were real surprising, but by the time I got to her Togekiss, we'd found our rhythm again. Question? Already? How old am I? Um... 16? Yeah! Finally, all she had left was her alchemy. Mine's better than yours. But while Parfait was prettier than Opal's alchemy, I also knew she didn't have any moves that were that good against her, so I came up with a plan. To have Parfait spam Tri-Attack in hopes that it inflicts a status effect on Opal's Gigantamaxed alchemy. And... yes! Oh... that's huge. Okay. With Opal's alchemy frozen, I was able to cleanly switch in Mamoru, the Gigantamax was over, and from there, it was basically curtains for her. Now it's our turn. Yeah! And with that, we had another victory under our belt. Yorkshire was a fun addition to the team, but it was time to bring my big tough teddy bear back in. I flew back to Hammerlocke with Opal, where we ran into Bede being a wet blanket. His sour attitude didn't matter much to Opal, though, for one reason. Pink! Pink! And pink! Congratulations, child. Hilarious that Bede wearing pink gets him this job. And I'm dressed as a magical girl. Is it the Gengars on my jacket? Is that what makes me not good enough? After that, we bumped into Sonia right before hearing an explosion from the nearby science plant Chairman Rose had talked to us about earlier. It's not our job to investigate that though, so I head off to the next route while Sonia and Leon figure out what's happening inside. Which I'm honestly happy about. I don't want to run around a bunch of factories fighting Team Flare grunts or something. I want to go find more Pokémon. But before we can catch anything else, we gotta fight Hop again. His Cinderace is fully evolved now, and it's also a major pain to deal with. Oof. Pyro Ball deals a ton of damage, even to Kimono, but even with that, we were able to beat him with no major issues. We made it to Route 8, where we found the Shiny Stone and were able to evolve Mamoru again. Our rose-clad magical boy didn't know it, but he was about to become one of our strongest team members. Roserade's special attack is cracked. Anything Cutie couldn't strength to death, Mamoru could Giga Drain. We made it through the rest of the route without any major incidents, but we did camp and had another cute race. Cool. What are you guys doing all over there? Oh, another race? Kimono loves races. We made it to the snowy area right outside Circhester, and a place where we could find Snowrunt. I knew I wanted Frostlass on the team, but that meant finding a female Snowrunt. So I settled in to hunt for the rare female, and the second one I fought was a girl. Oh, that was so fast. Okay. Yeah, it turns out the gender ratio for Snowrunt is 50-50. I really thought females were more rare than that, but I caught her, named her Yuki, and headed into town to see if there were any cute new outfits to buy. Unfortunately, not really, but I was able to get a better bag, which didn't warrant another transformation sequence, but it is still super cute. I decided to evolve Yuki right away so I could teach her more moves. Its favorite food is frozen souls. Same, dude. Same. With my team outfitted with some new TMs, we really had nothing else to do other than to jump straight into the next gym. Something I can never remember is that Gordy uses rock-type Pokémon, not ground-type Pokémon. So I had planned on using Yuki as a major player in his gym, since ground is weak to ice. Oh, ow. Why did that hurt so bad? Oh, because Rock's good against ice. These aren't ground-type Pokémon. They're rock. Oh. So yeah, oops. Looks like Yuki will be playing Benchwarmer for this one, but we still had Kimono, Cutie, and Mamoru, so I figured we'd be fine. I made it through Gordy's Dumbo Gym, which would have worked fine if this were a 2D game where we were stuck moving on a grid, but because we exist in the third dimension, it just blows. I hate this. I hate this gym! After navigating our way through, we dug out all the sand in our eyes and headed out to fight the least memorable gym leader of the region. Whatever. Whoa! Fancy flip. That can't be comfortable for you. You're hurting your neck and back doing that, Gordy. And quite honestly, yeah, we made short work of him. With our 6th badge obtained, I started to feel unstoppable, but the game did make me stop and have another boring conversation with Sonia about the history of the region that apparently no one else has ever bothered to study before now. After the chit-chat, Hop challenged us to another battle. It'd been a long time since I'd struggled with Hop, so I was mighty confident going in. Little did I know, my hubris was catching up to me. Hop's got 5 Pokemon now. Oh, he's got Mega Kick now. Oh, you motherfucker. Why? Cinderace gave me real trouble and brought to my attention how Yuki is also weak to fire. I did manage to beat him, and Sonia commented on how he'd finally seemed to have gotten back onto his feet after all the moping he'd done. I, however, wasn't feeling as confident. Struggling with Cinderace so much really shook me, and I decided that it was time to find some stronger mons to supplement the team. Once again, I found myself panicking about how the magical team needed to be better equipped to handle fire types. The icy waters of the next route gave me an idea, and I spent like actually 20 minutes recording myself in silence as I googled where I could find Frillish. My plan was to get the bike upgrade just ahead, and then head back out to the wild area. However, I swiftly ran into a Pokemon I hadn't thought of, Marini. Personally, I feel Marini fits the magical girl aesthetic easily, and I think it's because in the anime, the one James had was in love with him, so I think that's why. So I caught our new toxic friend and named her Antidote. Marini is poison water, which means she could take Kimono's place on the team, since his defense is so bad. So I guess I don't need to go catch a Frillish, since I just got a new water-type Pokemon. I spent all that time Googling for nothing. I ran back to the Pokemon Center to heal up, and then headed back to the route where this happened. Holy shit. I caught the Jellicent and named her Duchess. And man, all that time I spent figuring out where to find Frillish was really a total waste of time. But hey, now I had Duchess, and after one short fight with Team Yell, Antidote evolved. And this all kinda sent me into a spiral on who to keep on the team. Duchess had better water-type moves than Antidote, but Yuki's already a ghost-type. I don't need another ghost-type, not to mention being a ghost meant being weak to bite, which practically every Pokemon knows, so I should keep Antidote. Or should I just keep both of them and get rid of Yuki? I mean, how useful are ice-types anyway? But if I keep Antidote, that's doubling up on poison with Mamoru, so maybe I should keep Duchess and, I don't know, bring in Snap with 2Ks onto the team, but they're still weak to Charizard! Funnily enough, I found myself in the exact same spiral Hop was in for so much of the story, all because of a single fight I had with him. For the first time ever in my years of playing Pokemon, I felt completely lost on who to keep on my team. I flew back to Hammerlocke and rode around the wild area, hoping for some magical answer to all my problems to pop up. What's the smartest option? How can I have the strongest team? What Pokemon do I need to catch to make my team perfect? I didn't find any answers though. I just found some Sudowoodo. I decided to fly back to Route 9 and continue forward with Yuki and Antidote on the team, hoping that something on my way to Pierce would give me some clarity. I biked around the ice flows for a good long while because I got lost navigating them. I was going this way. There's nothing over here, I'm sure. There's never anything anywhere here. This place is just a big dumb maze for dum-dums like me to get lost in. But eventually I made it to the other shore, where there seemed to be a commotion. Looks like the next town, Spikemuth, is in lockdown, which means no one can get in. Luckily, since Marnie's my friend, she decides to show me a way in. And only me. After a short battle, Marnie heads off to figure out why the gate's shut, and I head in to start my next gym challenge. Perhaps the most boring gym challenge of the game, as all you do is walk forward and fight some Team Yell members periodically. The same Team Yell members whose battles thus far have been so uninteresting that half the time I've forgotten to even mention them during this video. I soon made it to the end of the alleyway, where the gym leader Pierce could be found. Wow, he's beautiful. Even if this no voice he has is really weird. It's weird that they chose to do that. Like, they figured that out 20-ass years ago with Roxy in Unova. But yeah, can't give Pierce a voice. I'd like to say that this battle was really intense, but quite honestly the most notable thing about it was how much I fawned over Pierce. You wanna challenge me, even though you know you'll lose? Then this song's for you, foolish trainer. He wrote a song for me. He's so cool! I also like that whenever he does like an exciting microphone thing, he has to like and pull it back to where it was. Though his final Pokemon, Skuntank, did give me some concern. I've always hated Skuntank, ever since Jupiter bullied me with hers back in Diamond and Pearl. However, Queenie had just learned a very interesting move. Destiny Bond. And there we go. Till death do us part. I got the 7th badge from my beloved, and Marnie got the gates open to the city, letting people enter. Ignoring how this implies Pierce had been holding a concert for 2 full in-game days for him to not know about the Yell members closing down Spikemuth, we headed outside where there's another commotion happening. Luckily, Leon was here to do everything for us, so we got to just continue forward, ignoring the recent explosion. I swiftly made it back to Hammerlocke, chit-chatted with the others a bit. Alright, goodbye. I like to think Leon wanted to follow Sonia and Magnolia, but immediately got lost and just went the wrong way. And now we're ready to fight Raihan. Raihan's gym challenge is just a couple of double battles. It's kind of a bummer how the earlier gyms had you doing puzzles, or at least the idea of a gimmick with how you moved forward, but then the latter half of the game they must have just run out of ideas and just make you do some fights and that's it. At least Opal's gym had the quizzes. Either way, we beat them all and now it's time for our final gym battle. Raihan is the 8th and strongest gym leader, a master of weather conditions and dragon-type Pokémon, and... yeah, I wish I could hype it up more, but it really wasn't that hard. We'd done it! We'd collected all 8 badges, and now just had to make our way to Winden, the final city. But first, there was something I needed to do. After actually getting some sleep, I came to the conclusion that if Yuki being weak to fire was such a problem that I completely spiraled on how to set up my team, then that meant it might be for the best to replace her. Despite how super cool she is, like seriously, she's really cool. But what do I catch to replace her? Nothing. I have an alchemy. Parfait is not weak to fire. She'd been a huge help during Opal's gym, and she can help us again with Leon. Welcome back to the team. We'll level you up a little bit. Let's go. However, there was still one last Pokemon to catch. Ages ago, I'd had an idea, and it was finally time to act upon it. I flew to Professor Magnolia's house and began another fishing quest. And after only a couple of minutes, I found what I was looking for. And, oh my gosh, I found one! Hell yeah! Oh my gosh, I thought I'd be doing this for hours. We caught Kimono's big sister, Hiyori. With her beefier stats and moveset, Charizard and Cinderace shouldn't be such big threats to us anymore. I swam around and found the Prism Scale, and then had to wait for my roommate to wake up so I could trade Hiyori over to evolve her. But I did, and she became a beautiful Milotic. Hiyori and Parfait were a little underleveled, so it was time to go train in the wild area a bit. An adventure so not noteworthy that I have no funny jokes to make about it at all. I'm just not talented enough to make grinding interesting, I'm sorry. Once the level grinding was over, I headed back to Hammerlocke to catch another train, this time headed to the least cool Victory Road of the franchise, just another snowy path. Yeah, which kind of weird, we're just in a snowy area, like... why have 2? Why can't this be another pretty grass area? Or a Nido forest. Lord have mercy. Glalie came flying in. That was terrifying. But we made our way through it, fighting off all the people with Steel and Ice-type Pokemon, finally reaching our destination, Winden. Oh, it's London. I literally just figured that out. Wow! After getting our final transformation outfit all set, it was time to head to the stadium. Hey, ball guy. Hey there, thanks for rolling by. I could tell you're following your dreams. That means you guessed it. I've got a Pokeball for you. Wouldn't it be funny if ball guy was how you got the Master Ball? First up are the semifinals, which means fighting our rivals again. I had thought I would be fighting the gym leaders first, because I forgot the order of how the semifinals and finals went down, so I had Mamoru out front. Fortunately, Mamoru's a beast that basically one-shot all of Marnie's Pokemon save for Grimmsnarl. Luckily for me, I've learned that Dark-type Pokemon are weak to bugs. Now with Marnie defeated, I had one final match with Hop, and even though I'd been aimlessly running around the wild area fighting Sudowoodos in a panic on how I'd fare against him just a couple badges ago, I didn't have any remaining fear heading out to this fight. I was no longer asking myself, what do I need to make sure I can win? Because I knew we had everything we needed right here. It downright makes me question how I got so worried in the first place. It's time to celebrate, and Leon invites the two of us to dinner, but it looks like he's gone and gotten himself kidnapped by Chairman Rose. So me, Hop, Pierce, and Marnie all come together to find a way to save him. I'm glad Pierce is here. He seems to be having fun. I then fought one bad guy 3 times. He had 6 different Pokemon, but refused to use more than 2 at a time for no reason. Why? Just make me fight him once. But by doing so, we end up cornering him at the station. But oh no, looks like he's got backup. How are we supposed to beat them all and find the card we need to gain access to Rose Tower? Well, luckily, my knight in shining armor is here to save the day. Pierce starts up a concert, garnering a crowd in the process. In the confusion, we grab the card we need and head to Rose Tower, where the worst part of the game awaits us. The boring elevator of doom. We finally make it to the top, where Oleana awaits us. She's not gonna let us get to the chairman that easily, though, so it's time to fight. Frostlass. That's not a steel-type Pokemon. Serena. Man, it's like all the Pokemon I chose not to use over the course of my adventure. Oleana's, I guess, a bit like a distorted magical girl in her own way. With Oleana defeated, we find Leon not kidnapped, but rather he'd just been having a disagreement with Chairman Rose this whole time. Seems Rose has found a way to make sustainable energy, and wants to cancel the championship match tomorrow to enact it. Leon, however, refuses to cancel the match, as Rose's solution is for a problem that won't be an issue for 1,000 years, so why not wait a day to begin? And on one hand, I think Rose is right to be so enthusiastic about this. You can't wait 1,000 years to solve the problem. You need to start making strides to fix it now. But on the other hand, it's stupid that Rose just refuses to wait 30 minutes for a fight to be over before doing the very important energy-saving stuff. Like, a tiny amount of patience is okay. Either way, we've rescued Leon and can finally get that dinner. And with that, we're at the finals round, where I have to fight a bunch of gym leaders again. And let me just say that this part is boring and dumb, especially since they make you fight Raihan right after you'd just beaten him. This is the exact same fight. Fighting Bede and Nessa again are fine since he's your rival, and Nessa was such an early game gym that her rematch gets to be really different. But after that, I think you should have to fight the gym leaders you didn't face earlier. So, in Sword, I got B and Gordy's gym badges, and so here, I should have to face Alistair and Melanie. But that's not what they do, so let's jump back to recap these fights. First up is Bede, now acting as the Baloney Fairy type gym representative, and just like last time, my team really has no problem against fairies. Bede is defeated, but seems overall much happier now that he's under Opal's wing. Next up was Nessa, where I easily swept through all of her Pokemon. After that was B, where I one-hit KO'd 4 out of her 5 Pokemon. Also, a notable part of the battle was that I made sure to comment on how much I liked her entire team as they came out. Hawlucha, I love Hawlucha. Surfetch'd, I love Surfetch'd. Grapploct, I love Grapploct too. I just like fighting type Pokemon. And finally was Raihan, and yeah, this went pretty much the same as the first time. Like, just to hammer home how silly Chairman Rose looks for being unwilling to wait until after the championship match, fighting all 4 of them took 30 minutes to do total. But that's alright, because it was finally time to fight Leon. From starting out watching him on my phone to now, he has been a constant on the horizon. Every step we made on this journey was a step closer to this battle. And finally, it was happening. Alright, guess Chairman Rose couldn't wait like 5 minutes and so decided to destroy the world. Looks like it's up to us to save the day, as Hop and I head back to the Slumbering Wild in hopes that the spooky fog will help us out. Turns out getting through the forest is a lot easier when the fog lightens up a little bit. Oh! I had no idea Stunfisk could be found here. Our mascot companion returns to lead us to a rusted sword and shield, which we decide to bring along cause, like, it can't hurt, right? Man, my eyes look whack. I've never looked more magical. With our ancient gear now in tow, we headed back to Hammerlocke and down the elevator to Chairman Rose's secret evil basement. See, you know, if there's one thing I'm learning from Pokemon games, it's that if someone has a giant egg in a basement, it's bad news. But there's no time to ponder how often the villains of these games' plans are to hatch and or awaken some slumbering god, cause Rose is here and it's time to fight. Chairman Rose uses Steel-type Pokemon, and luckily, I just had a bunch of practice learning how to handle those. However, I didn't expect his Copper Raja to know Zen Headbutt, taking down Cutie, and Queenie's Destiny Bond failed. It was starting to look a bit dicey, but we had just the new magical member of the team to handle it. With Rose defeated, we gained access to the elevator and up to where Leon and Eternatus were. Well, maybe if you didn't try using just a Pokeball. Like, you didn't even try a Great Ball, you know? Do you not talk to Ball Guy? With Leon down for the count, it's up to us to handle the awakened Super God. We raise our crusty weaponry to the sky, and Zacian bestows upon us our true weapon. And with our wolf friends in their true forms, nothing could stand in our way. I threw my Pokeball, and just like that, thank you. The day has been saved. Chairman Rose turned himself in, and Galar was safe. Now all there really was left to do was to face the unbeatable champion, Leon. I head out to the pitch, ready for my final fight to become a true magical girl. Come on, twins. Let's make this the final match that'll go down in Galar's history. No, a match that'll change Galar forever. We're gonna have an absolutely champion time. I also say something interesting and cool. Leon starts with Aegislash and I with Cutie. A couple brutal swings was all it took to handle Aegislash, but in the process it did bring Cutie down to 1 HP, and she wasn't fast enough to get a hit on Haxorus before it could use Earthquake. Parfait was up next and managed to survive an Iron Tail with the power of friendship to dazzling gleam Haxorus away. With her 1 HP remaining, I had Parfait set up Misty Terrain before Leon's next Pokemon, Rhyperior, took her out. Was Earthquake really necessary? Next up was Mamoru, who handled this easily with Giga Drain, but who wasn't able to take Dragapult's Flamethrower. Most of my Pokemon couldn't take Dragapult's Flamethrower, including Queenie, who did what she does best. Yeah, Destiny Bond! Not knowing what to expect next, I sent out Hiyori, hoping she'd be tanky enough to allow me time to start shoving max revives down my magical group's throats. That was the wrong thing to do. Rillaboom. This was bad. I sent out the wrong thing. This is bad. I used my turn to revive Cutie, who could tank the hits I needed to bring some of the others back up, and then took Rillaboom down with a couple of strengths. Leon was on his final Pokémon. Hi, Charizard. I let Cutie take the hit so I could swap into another team member cleanly. This was it. This was the fiery demon that had me doing so much fishing in this adventure. I sent out Hiyori, and then we're met with a surprise. Max Overgrowth. What grass-type move does Charizard know? It's Solar Beam, and I needed Hiyori to survive another one of those to take him out. I think we can take another one. Just barely. This had been a wild adventure. From conquering youngster Jake with his one Squavit to training all day to beat Kabu. We contracted Pokerus. We fell in love. Some battles were easy, some were hard. And we made so many friends along the way. From the moment I rolled that die and let fate decide my starter, this has been some of the most fun I'd had in a long time. And now, with all of us together... Yeah! We did it! Yeah! I've done it. My magical girl adventure was at last complete. I've become a magical girl and the champion. The credits roll, and our story comes to a close. This has been really so much fun. I've put in a ton of work into this video as well. From doing the playthrough, to scripting, to recording the audio, to editing, to drawing all the magical kids. It's been so much work, but I've been having a great time doing it. I really do hope you subscribe or like the video or just engage in some way, not for some ego boost for me, but because I worked really, really hard on the video, and doing those kinds of things, it lets YouTube know that maybe someone else would like to watch the video as well, and it'd really break my heart if after all this work, this video only got like 1,000 views, you know? But I really do hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And now, there's really nothing else left to do but to say thank you for watching, and thank you to my patrons for supporting me and for being patient with me. And now, finally, I can rest.